Okay, so here we have a quick unboxing and first thoughts on the Flashpoint Zoom Mini Flash for FujiFilm mirrorless cameras. The great thing about this mini flash is it has an integrated R2 radio transceiver to use in conjunction with your R2 strobes or pocket flashes that have the built-in R2 receivers, such as the Evolv, Xplors, or even the studio flash that I have, which is the Flashpoint Studio 400. Now let's take a look at what's inside this box. It came a little crinkled up. It's no big deal. It came in that little padded envelope from ADORAMA. Now they already have this available for different versions of different manufacturers, such as I think Sony already and Canon. But this is new for Fujifilm users as they don't have too many options. Now I'm going to go a little bit later on and discuss why I picked this up, because I didn't really need it for the flash features. I needed it because I'm waiting patiently for the R2 transmitter for high-speed sync purposes and for controlling these. So here's what's inside. There's nothing much to it. You pretty much have your flash with this padded case, which is nice. Your typical pamphlets and information like that. Nothing really exciting, but it comes with a nice little diffuser cap on top. You know, a lot of times you have to buy those separately, at least with most of the flash guns I've had from Canon. So this does spin all the way around. You just have to do it from one side only. So this is just like any other flash gun. It has a little bounce card right there, a little diffuser. So you can see the pins on the bottom. The Fuji pin setup is a little different. I'm glad that it's metal too. That this is not spring loaded either as far as the battery compartment. It only takes 2 AA batteries. So this right here, as I've showed in the unboxing, is a Zoom mini flash gun. Now, it's probably ideal for nighttime photography because of low power output, or maybe some light or slight fill flash in certain circumstances where it's not, or you don't need too much power. Now that's great and all, and if you want to use it for that, it's really nice. It's really compact. It really fits the size of a mirrorless body well. It looks like it belongs together. If you ever put like a regular flash gun on top of here or any mirrorless body, it looks a little awkward because it's pretty big. Honestly, it looks a little big even on full frame DSLRs and crop DSLRs. So with that being said, you're going to probably hear me refer to this as a trigger or a transmitter or whatnot, because that's what I'm using it for. So it's stuck in my head, and that's what I really want to kind of talk about. Now, for example, if you're going to use this just as an on-camera flash, if you turn your camera on, I think mine's on. I have this button right here on my Fuji designated to, let me lower this down a little bit. I have this designated to electronic shutter, mechanical and electronic, where it kind of knows when to switch when it's past a certain speed. And then mechanical shutter only, where the icon is gone. Now, if you have this on mechanical shutter, or electronic shutter, I'm sorry, if you go to menu and you go to up here in the flash icon and you go over, it's your flash is not going to work. The shoe is kind of disabled, okay? So don't be alarmed. All you got to do is just make sure your mechanical shutter is on only. And like I said, every system is a little different, even with high-speed sync, with whether it be Sony or Canon or whatever. If you shoot and you're trying to shoot high-speed sync and your system can't handle high-speed sync, you can still fire the shot off, but you're going to see these big black bars on here. On here, it's a little different, and I'll show you that with this particular strobe right here. This is a great find that I picked up. It's a Flashpoint Studio 400. It's an R2 setup, so I like how it all works together, and I'll get back to that in a second. So if you look at, hopefully you can see all this stuff. Well, anyway, I turned the electronic stuff off, so now if you go to flash and you go over, you can see it's enabled. Now, if you want high-speed sync on here, if you want high-speed sync over here, what you have to do is make sure that you go over here, and for sync, you hit OK. You go in auto, which says HSS, high-speed sync. They have first curtain, second curtain for different types of reasons. And here's TTL. You can change all this stuff. You can change it to manual or whatever you want to change it to. So let me get out. And then you could do the exposure compensation or flash compensation and all that other good stuff. But like I said, if you want it for that, that's great. But for me, I'm using it more of a transmitter. And let me just kind of talk about that. So right here, I have an Evolv. Over here, I have a studio strobe with the R2 built in by Flashpoint. It doesn't matter which one you get, whether it be Cheetah, Flashpoint, Godox, whatever. For this system, I really like that I don't have to really change much at all. I just use this. So I really am kind of dedicated to this brand at the moment. I'm really liking the option. So, all right, so you have your mode button. your zoom button, your sync button, your slave button, and these are multi-use buttons as well, the wheel and the set button. So the zoom right here is going to change the zoom here, which is going to change the beam or angle of this flash gun or this flash head right here. The function right here, which is important, is you want to hold this. You see this is for the auto focus assist beam. This is for the backlight. This right here is for a zoom display format. This right here is an important one. It's the auto sleep. Make sure that this is off, because if you're using it the way I'm using it with the R2 whole wireless setup, if you wait too long, you're gonna have to keep resyncing everything because it's gonna time out on you, and it's really annoying. So make sure that's off. So to sync this, you wanna hold the sync button. You see this thing blinking. And once you sync these triggers up, once you sync these other light sources up, you don't have to keep doing it over and over. So if I switch and put a Canon R2 up here, or I put a Sony, it switches automatically. It just knows. So my Xplor actually has a letter S or a F for Fuji, Sony, or whatever, and it does it automatically once everything's set up. So right now I have this setup as B, this setup as C. Now keep in mind, this is not a high-speed sync strobe. This is, and this is TTL. This is not, it's just fully manual, and it only goes to 1/16 is the lowest, right? So what you do is, now that this is on, while this is blinking, you can move this. You have S for slave. You can turn that off, and then you can put on M for master, right? So now that this is set up, you want to go to groups. You have A. This is TTL. If you see this is TTL here, you'll see this jump to TTL. So if I hit mode again, it'll be manual. Oops, I'm in wrong group. Sorry. Group B, which is this, TTL. Hit mode. Now it's in manual. You can see that's in manual. As I change this, you're going to see this change and whatnot, right? So, and I can shoot this off, and you can see it went off. Or hopefully you can see it in the video. Now, I can turn this off by hitting mode again. And you're going to see this little flash icon with a circle with a line through it, which basically disables the flash. And you can see it went out. Group C, which is this light, keep in mind it goes to 1/16. This goes up to like 128. So if I go to 128, it just stops at 1/16. It doesn't keep going. You can bring this back down. You can see it's changing as I'm scrolling this wheel. Now it's at 1:1. So with this, now if I shoot, this is not going to work because I'm at 1/8,000th of a second. So with this system, it doesn't allow you to misfire. It just won't fire at all. So if I go down to 250 is the max normal sync speed, you see it's fired off. Now, if I want to turn this off, oh, this is another thing. So in the very beginning, I thought I had a lot of problems because for some reason, this kept firing off when I didn't want it to. And let me show you why, just in case you have these same little issues. They're very basic, but you know, they can easily be overlooked, especially if you're using a new system. So just because this is an M right here for like a master type mode, it does not mean that this is disabled. You have to disable it, just like I showed you a second ago how to disable this or enable them. So if you look at this, if you hit group, if you go to M, is for this. Right now it's disabled, but if I hit mode, it can be in TTL or it can be in manual. So right now it's at 1:1. So if I fire this off, let me make sure these other, C, this is C, I'm gonna turn this off. So it's at M 1:1. So it might be bright. I don't know if you can see it through the lens, but it's gonna be bright. Right? Now if I hit mode again, scroll through TTL, now it's in TTL. So it's a lot less bright. Now if I wanna turn this off, make sure I hit mode and wait till this icon is off under the M, okay? Now, if you want to put these back on, like I said, just go to group B, enable it. I can, whether it be TTL or I want to put it in manual mode. Then I go to the next group, which is C over here. I can go ahead and enable it. It's not TTL, so it's not going to work either. But as you look at the screen, when I hit this again, it's on 1:1. Now I want to turn that down, obviously. But there it is. 250, like I said, now they're both firing. And let me just show you high speed sync. I probably showed it. Like I said, I might keep repeating myself. I'm gonna disable C. Oops, I'm just on C. I'm gonna turn it off. So now I'm gonna change the shutter speed to 1/8,000th of a second. I'm just gonna put this at 1/28. I think I'm wide open here. I don't know if it's gonna be enough power, but let me just try this out. So I'm on group B, 1/28, high speed sync, 1/8,000th of a second. Make sure your electronic shutter is off. It's on mechanical only. So I just fired that shot off. And as you can see, this is a dark exposure. Let me actually turn this light more towards that subject really quick. So as you can see, even though it's a horrible exposure as far as a good shot, there's no black bars or anything. It's synced just fine. So while you're waiting for the R2 trigger or transmitter, basically this is a great option. It's a little bit more money, but it's also a little bit more features, and you can definitely still find a great use for this in the future. And like I said, you don't have to turn this off if you don't want to. If you want to fire this and you want to go to group, go to the M, turn it on, TTL for whatever reason. Just say you want to go ahead and add a little fill to this for whatever the reason is, or fill to something else. You can go ahead and let me put on manual focus actually. All right. You can go ahead and fire both of these at the same time. The great thing about this too, if I already didn't say it, you can take this off and control with the R2 transmitters also. You can control it just like you control any of these, which is nice. It's not a lot of power, so I don't know exactly what you would use it for, but there may be a circumstance where you just need a little pop or color for something. If this was helpful at all, please hit like and subscribe, and make sure you hit that notification icon to get future updates on future videos, or visit www.howtoandreviews.com. Till next time.